Episode 5 of FX's Shogun is here, and this was a really, really, really good episode in terms of providing a lot of backstory for Blackthorn's character and sort of his. I think this is the episode where he finally begins to accept the culture that he is now a part of, whether willing or no. Um, there's some really good character development in this episode. Of course, Toranaga is back at the head of. Well, we'll talk about that this episode. Most important thing, I don't do spoiler free. So if you haven't watched the episode yet, make sure to pause, go watch it, come back, and then we could talk about this in full because I do the full episode here. So you've been warned. No more spoiler alerts. Let's get into this. So I think the most important thing here is that we're picking up where we left off last week, where his son did something really stupid and potentially provoked a war. There's good and bad things to this. On the one hand, his son inadvertently did something that he kind of wanted to in the first place, which is provoke the regents to come to him because here where they're at, they can entrench. But he shows up with an army, and at his side is none other than Mariko's husband, who somehow survived. And a whole portion of this episode is sort of Blackthorn and Mariko's husband coming to terms with the fact that he has ordered her husband to live under the same roof as the foreigner, and there is a major showdown between Blackthorn and her husband, Mariko's husband, because they both get drunk on sake, and of course, he's all stressed because this guy does not treat his wife very well, and we find out her backstory of her family essentially being known for killing this corrupt leader of Japan, and as a result, the shame of that was her father had to execute her mother and all of her siblings, and then commit seppuku himself, and so she has this shamed name, this dirty name, and so her husband feels the shame of being married to her, and of course Blackthorn is pretty much falling for her, and especially after the night that they shared together, and then he shows up and now he's treating her like crap, and so there's a confrontation there between these two guys. But the real important thing here is there's a moment where he is hunting and he gives a pheasant to Blackthorn as a a present, and Blackthorn hangs it up outside of the house and makes this comment about how it's forbidden to touch this, but his Japanese is very limited, right? So he's like, "Don't touch. It's forbidden. We're gonna hang it here. It's gonna rot. Don't worry about it. We're gonna make this delicious thing out of it." It eventually gets smelling so bad that the whole village is in an uproar about it, and the gardener takes it upon himself to take the bird down and dispose of it so that the village can be in peace. But in doing so, he breaks the word of the lord of the house, which was, if you touch that, it's forbidden, you will die. Those were the words he used: touch, forbidden, die. He didn't understand the gravity of the words that he spoke. So literally, the gardener commits seppuku, and seppuku, I always forget how to pronounce that, but basically takes it upon himself, I don't know if he committed seppuku, but he was executed because he's dead because of the bird. And there's this moment where, in the rage of sort of being pissed off at Mariko's husband and his position being stuck here, and then realizing he was at fault for the death of this innocent man who he actually liked, he's finally beginning to understand the cultures and the customs and how words have meaning here in a way that they never did in his English tongue. So it's a very, like I said, character building episode with him coming to grips with what is Japanese culture and who are these people that he's living with. The culmination of this is the armies that he has brought down are here. They're having a ceremony towards the end of the episode, and a big earthquake comes, causes a landslide, and he almost dies. We're talking about, and we then see a mudslide coming down the mountain and wiping out I don't know how much of his army. So that's bad news for him. At the same time, we end the episode with the mother of the emperor or mother of the king, the guy that all the regents are waiting for her to turn 16. He lets her loose from her. It's not prison per se, but they hold people as captives for political reasons. And he releases her and lets her go back to the city. And she shows up and says, "Oh no, the regent. You guys all answer to me now. Like my son is the rightful heir to the throne, and I'm back." So we don't know what's happening there. They're still trying to depose him because they can't impeach him without having a fourth member. So they're trying to vote somebody else in. They can't agree. So there's that political thing going on in the background. And of course, he has his spy in. I thought it was his brother, but it's just the other guy who's basically been trying to play both sides, and he knows that he's playing both sides. And I forget the names here because I'm horrible with names. But his son was the one who provoked his son into attacking the regent, who, or not the regent, but the general who came in the last episode. So there's a lot of stuff going on. He knows some of it. He's trying to figure out more. Getting rescued by Blackthorn at the end of the episode obviously builds more of a bond between their two characters, but they also have to deal with the fact that the army is now basically decimated, and who knows if everybody's going to be coming north or not. So another solid episode. The costuming is great in this one, as are the complexities of the cultural differences between the two. I think that's very important from an observational standpoint. So I can't wait for next week's episode. The show has been going very well. We have been enjoying it a lot. If you've also been enjoying it, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. And I'll see everybody next week as we continue on to episode 6 of Shogun on FX. See you next time, everybody.